Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and we're going to look at the headlines at the start of this new year. But before that, I have yet one more smart website to introduce to you, and that is called the TIE.io. It is a place that provides you predictive tools for pricing with a 92.6% accuracy, some sentiment tools, TA, market data, and fundamental insights. I think you will find this not only fun, but very informative, whether you're a hodler or a trader. There is just an amazing amount of information here. So we can look at pricing, and you can see I've got the window open from the 29th of December to January 5th. The black line is the actual price, and the blue line is the predictive price. We are currently looking at XRP. It is in a very neutral mode, so there is not a lot of projection going up or down, but kind of in a sideways motion. With the sentiment chart, we can compare sentiment, price, trade volume, and tweet volume. This has got a great fundamentals for tweets. Here on the lower left-hand side is your data. You can look at also the profile of the digital asset, coin, or project that you're interested in. You can look at individual exchanges and their price and trade volume. There's a Twitter feed. You're going to see lots of people you know if you are on Twitter. I think I just saw Leonidas. Here's Leonidas. He wrote a new blog article, his very first one, which was so great. There is a retweet by Alex Cobb. Alex is doing a wonderful job keeping the XRP community up to date. And you can come down here to XRP Yoda, etc. So you'll really have a good source to find out what people are talking about on Twitter. As a matter of fact, on Twitter today, if we look at here in terms of volume, there have been 3,410 tweets about XRP on Twitter today. There's a news feed, which is a very good aggregator. It looks across different news sites and will pull up that data with whatever project you have opened up. You can look at the team, which I know if you're an XRP fan, you probably already know all about the top executive management. But you can imagine if you're looking at a coin or project that you're not so familiar with, this is a great place to just check all that information in one location. And word chart, the Twitter word frequency chart. So these are the top words that occur in the tweets, and you can see in the red how many are negative. Green shows positivity, and then of course neutral tweets show up in the gray. Anyway, there is just too much to cover. Have some fun on this and use it to your best possible advantage if you are in the mode of trading. I think you're going to find a lot of this very helpful. Okay, let's take a look at the top news across the Coin Tokyo website. This first one is really big. This is the exchange that is going to launch on Monday, the 7th. They are registered in Estonia, and not only do they have, of course, 40 different virtual currencies that it supports with fiat pairs, I think we're going to see some impact on the overall market cap. So I don't know how much, but I do think we are going to see some impact from this launch. In addition, they are providing tokenization of some of the most popular stocks in the traditional world. So they are tokenizing Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, Tesla, Netflix, Baidu, Intel, just to name a few. So tokenization is really where it's going. I think we're going to see a lot more of this in 2019. Unfortunately, U.S. citizens cannot participate yet. there needs to be some additional regulatory requirements. They do have a very strong KYC, and you are going to find that they are very compliant. Here is Bitrue. Bitrue, as you know, is very supportive of XRP. 5 months ago, they had 13 XRP pairs, and they just recently added TRX, XLM, NEO, Gas, OMG. I understand ADA and VeChain are coming, and today B was added. So they have been very strong in Asia. They are, I think, expanding. They have an office in the United States and Canada. So I think you're going to see this is one of the best sites out there that support XRP. We will just watch them carefully. They just recently exceeded the trade volume for XRP over Bitstamp and Kraken. Wow. Okay, so congratulations to the CEO, Mr. Wang. This is about Monero. It is now accepted on the website for merchandise of the world's #1 online game called Fortnite. Fortnite is kind of a battle royale multiplayer shooting game, and they launched back in 2017, but they are actually going to have a free version coming this year. So yeah, the merchandise site was very fun, actually. This story here is about BTC China. BTC China was one time the second largest exchange in the world. It actually was the first site in China to buy and sell Bitcoin back in 2011 when Bitcoin was just around $100. They did close in 2017, but they have reopened with a new person who owns 100% of the equity, and they are transforming into a blockchain technology company. This is a pricing article about Bitcoin. And then when we come down here, this is about Tom Lee. He, of course, started the Fundstrat group that is really very good, in my opinion, at tracking what's happening in the cryptocurrency space. He does say in this interview on Fast Money, which is a CNBC program, that the trade dynamics are deteriorating. He believes due to the recent moves that the Fed has made in raising interest rates, and that this is the worst history in regards to the recent hikes. He thinks it's a very dangerous time, but recession won't happen, he thinks, if the Feds make the right moves in the future. So you can find his interview out there, and it's, yeah, I always find him enjoyable to listen to. This is the Japan Virtual Exchange Association, Virtual Currency Exchange Association. They just added 5 more members to that exchange. That was an exchange that was recently given the official recognition by the government to self-regulate, but the self-regulate really doesn't mean they can make their own rules. They are still having to follow whatever the financial FSA, the Financial Service Agency, decides is needing to be done for Japan. This is DMM. DMM is the Japanese virtual currency exchange that has a very aggressive campaign right now. They are providing up to 1,110 US dollars if we do kind of the exchange rate in a money back campaign. So it is different tiers. If you open an account, you get 1,000 yen back, which is $10. But you can also accumulate different points based on how much you trade, and that will give you up to $100 back, or 10,000 yen. And then they also have a tiered deposit cash back for the amount of 1,000 US dollars. So all in all, through this campaign, you can actually get back $1,110. So I think Mr. Kitao of SBI is really watching this space. He recently tweeted this New Year's greeting with the Akemashite Omedetou Gozaimasu, which is Happy New Year. But he said also in the tweet that the promotions are coming. So he has a lot to catch up with because there is a lot of there is a lot going on in that space, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he decides to do. Okay, this is a story about BCH, not a very good one. Unfortunately, on January 3rd, BTC.top, which is a miner in China, actually had a 50.2% hash power of BCH. So anytime you are supporting a project that is still mining the coins, you don't want to see that much hash power fall into the hands of just one entity. So let's hope that that spreads out a little more. This is Circle. This is wow. They made their OTC sales public, and they did 24 billion in OTC sales in 2018. That occurred through 10,000 trades with 36 assets, and they actually had to hire 150 more people. Binance has Launchpad now. This is tokenizing, again, new tokens. So almost monthly, we're going to see new tokenization projects occur. The first ones will be BitTorrent, which is, of course, active with Tron. They are a P2P file sharing platform. And then Fetch AI, which is a blockchain company that provides hospitality, transportation, energy, and supply chain verticals, that technology in the way of blockchain. So we will be able to participate through the tokenization. It too will have a fully compliant KYC procedure. This, according to CZ, is going to give more exposure, for one, to these projects, and the ability to raise funds. So it'll be able to raise investment money. I do believe, along with what he said is true, that it is going to also enhance mass adoption of this space. So the US and China and South Korea cannot participate in this yet. So we need to see the US kind of get their regulatory clarity done before all these projects happen and leave the US behind. I'm really hoping that happens soon. This is an article that talks in a little bit more detail about BitTorrent. This is a little bit more detail about the DX exchange. This is an interesting article. So the CEO of Bitmex is Aurthur Hayes. He has a blog, and he wrote an interesting article about how China has almost gone virtually cashless, and they've done it through WeChat. WeChat uses a QR code, and he discusses the future of digital money. This is an article that just reminds you, don't get BTC China, which is the technology company, and BTCC token mixed up. They don't have anything to do with each other. They are completely separate projects. I think there was some confusion out there. This is a pricing article about Bitcoin. This is a pricing article about XRP. This is EOS, and they have recently a 10% gain because I think the supporters of this project are very happy with the new airdrop that will occur as an incentive to vote. So that is good to see that the supporters are happy with the new initiative for airdrops. This is an article about Galaxy Digital. That, of course, is the fund by Mike Novogratz. He upped his position from 213 million shares to 221 million shares. He now has a 79.3% position for that. I think he had a very rough 2018, and in just the third quarter, he lost 41 million. I know he lost over 100 million for the year, but the timing now that he has decided to get back in is interesting. It tells me that he really believes in this space, and it also says, in my opinion, that he believes that the pricing has hit the bottom. Okay, this is what the U.S. needs, and it's an article about New York State Assemblyman Clyde Vannell. He is forming a crypto task force to examine the classification of virtual currency. So I hope he gets something done soon. This is Bitrue. Again, it is about the 5 new pairs that were recently added. This story is about HitBTC. They unfortunately delayed some withdrawals when the site was maybe receiving a lot of requests for the coins in the campaign that was organized by Trace Mayer to proof of keys. Sorry, that was to get your assets off the exchanges and into cold wallets where you actually have the keys, so that you are not leaving it in the hands of these exchanges that might not be able to prove that they actually have your assets. And I think this story was very bad for HitBTC, and I'm sure it has affected their reputation. And the last story is how this virtual currency put up as collateral for cash loans, that kind of business has just exploded this last year. So if you put your virtual currency up, like for example, if you put your Bitcoin up, you can get cash back at a rate somewhere between 10 and 12%. And that kind of business was just huge, even though we had a very strong crypto winter in all of 2018. Okay, so that was your recap of the headlines from Japan. Let's take a look something here. I think this is interesting. Is it right here? Yes, this is Sincerely George. You go, girl. Listen, I'm going to let her just tell you what she's doing here. Let's see if I can do this.
You should check out my live stream on Sunday. It will definitely be funny because it'll be my first one, so you'll get to see me make it myself probably. But no, I'm new and I will get better. So I hope you'll join me Sunday. I look forward to seeing you there. Have a great one. Happy Friday.
It's great. So Sincerely George is going to have her very first live stream, and she's going to talk about Coil. It will, I'm sure, be very good. I'm really happy to see she is in the space, and I hope you all support her, and I'm just sure she's going to be successful. All right, everybody, we're going to go right to the fluff, okay? So I think everybody recognizes this. This is origami. These are cranes called suru in Japanese. And the cranes are maybe the most commonly recognized form of origami. However, origami comes in many, many shapes and sizes. I wanted to just talk about the history first, to just give an overview, because I found a story that's very, very interesting. So we all know that China invented paper, and it actually came to Japan in approximately the 6th century AD. It was carried over by Buddhist monks, and the word ori comes from oru, which means to fold, and kami, which actually has a G sound when you put it together, origami, but kami means paper. So the first reference that we have to actual art of folding paper in Japan comes from a poem that was written in the 1600s about butterflies. But it has a long tradition. Even the samurai warriors, they used to put a form of origami on top of the gifts that they exchanged. They would take white paper and fold them and then put inside some dried abalone But the crane is a symbol now actually used of very often for peace, and it's an auspicious symbol in Japan within the culture here. And it is believed that if you fold 1,000 of them, your wish will come true. So here is a typical origami paper store. You can see just how many papers you can select from. They are all absolutely beautiful. And here is the story I came across that I found so curious. There is a gentleman who is a waiter. His name is Yuki Tatsumi. This is a little bit high. And Yuki Tatsumi started collecting the folded paper from the chopsticks. This is a disposable chopstick, warabashi. And the warabashi in Japan, when you go to a restaurant, always comes in a piece of paper, very often printed with pretty colors and flowers. And people will fold them and use it as a chopstick rest, if you will. Well, Yuki Tatsumi started to collect these, and he says it's better than a tip. You know, they don't tip here in Japan. So he thinks, though, that the people that leave him these folded treasures of origami are more rewarding than a tip. And it's a form of interaction through human relationships. So you can see here's a very fast version of somebody making a folded form. You can see here it's used as a rest for your chopstick when you eat, and then people will leave it behind. And he's been saving them. He's been saving so many of them, actually 15,000 of them. Recently, there was an exhibit of 8,000 of them here in Tokyo. Can you imagine? I didn't get to see it, but I'm sure it was really fun for everyone to see. And I will put, again, one more video on YouTube about his collection and how that has occurred and what he thinks. He is interviewed in this particular video, and it's just quite interesting. There he is there, and he is collecting them. He keeps them all individually in a bag, in a little box, which is then put into a big box. 15,000 he has. Look at this. This is just kind of crazy. So interesting. Okay, everybody, that's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for your time. So, sayonara for now. Take care. Bye-bye.